Welcome folks. It's been quite a while since I made an update, but it's time again. And as you can see, I've picked up quite a few titles. First up, we're taking a look at the DVDs on the left hand side. I've had these on my DVD wish list for a number of years and I finally picked them up. So most of these were just sheep horror movies that I acquired, but they're a lot of fun and perfect for October. In the middle there you can see the Universal Monsters, the Essential Collection on Blu-ray. This is the Coffin box set. I will be taking a brief look at this one, but I will be taking a more in-depth look in a separate video. Then on the right, man, I sound like a weather forecast dude, don't I? On the right we'll have storms coming in over the night. On the right I've got all the new Blu-rays that I've acquired recently. And there are some pretty cool titles there as well. So let's just start looking at the DVD, shall we? First up, it's an awesome movie. Not a horror movie per se, but a fun exploitation comedy action flick. It's Black Dynamite, baby. Black Dynamite is an awesome blaxploitation throwback movie. If you're familiar with the blaxploitation movies from the 70s, like Coffin or Shaft, then you have to watch this one. Michael Jai White is extremely funny in this one. It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. And if you like the if you like Planet Terror, Death Proof, Machete, or Hobo with a Shotgun, then this should be right up your alley. Hysterical movie, just a lot of fun. Not something for the critics, I guess you might say, but if you can take a movie with a grain of salt and just enjoy it, Black Dynamite should be right up your alley, baby. After that, we've got Killer Klowns from Outer Space. This is a low-budget horror classic from the 80s. And I had never seen this until now. I just picked this up and watched it a few nights ago, and it was it was fun. I'll give it that. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just, come on, it's Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and they are sapping people with laser guns and turning them into big clouds of cotton candy. So I think this movie, you can tell this movie really spent everything on the premise. That is to say, it spent everything on the costumes and everything on the great sets. It has fantastic sets, but it did not have very good acting or a very good script per se, but that's okay. Just go with it and have fun. Check it out if you like low-budget horror movies. And then check this cover out. This is pretty crazy. It's Intruder with Bruce Campbell, moved by Scott Spiegel. It's the old Sam Raimi, Lawrence Bender gang. You may know these guys from the Evil Dead series. Check out that freaking cover artwork, that's insane. I've not seen this one yet. I'm gonna check it out very soon, and I will let you know what I thought about it. But it was a classic slasher. Yeah, this is one of the last of the slasher era of the 80s. It came out in 1989. And I just couldn't pass up. It said Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi on the cover, and it looked like this. I got sold on the cover art alone for this movie. Pretty gruesome stuff. And then we've got Piranha. This is the classic movie by Joe Dante. This is one of the Jaws imitators from the 1970s. Nowadays you've got Piranha 3D and Piranha 3DD. Piranha 3D was actually a remake of this one. But if you haven't seen the original, then I highly suggest you check this one out. I believe there was a remake of this in the 90s as well. I have not seen that one, but I have seen this one, and it's a lot of fun. Great animal horror movie from the 70s. Just a lot of fun. Truly cheesy, fun stuff. Nothing too serious going on here. It's just a bunch of piranha flocking and attacking people. And yeah, I think they upped the gore factor and they upped the nudity factor for the remake, but this one still does have a lot of cool gore and practical effects and stuff. Alrighty, so that's Piranha. Finally picked this one up, and I'm glad I did. Another horror movie classic. I'm picking up all the great 80s classics that I don't have in my collection already. Here's Re-Animator. This is a truly classic gore movie from the 80s. It's about a mad scientist. based originally on a story by none other than Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, but it's been modernized and it's been bloodied up. So there's some really iconic scenes in this movie, particularly involving the severed head. And I love the design of this whole DVD case. Very cool. I love the discs and I love everything about it. It's just very cool, nice and glowy. So Re-Animator is a lot of fun. You can always throw this on a Saturday night if you don't have anything cool to watch. So there's Re-Animator. I picked up two sequels I didn't have. Paranormal Activity 2 and Paranormal Activity 3. Now I know what you're thinking. Not the greatest movies in the world, but I like them. I think they're okay. Paranormal movies are kind of like the modern day Blair Witch movies, I suppose, but I like the idea of it's kind of a backwards franchise. So if you're going to watch these in chronological order, then you will watch them 3, 2, 1. And they're always, now it's like, oh my god, it's at the neighbors and it's the kids and it's everywhere. So I don't know, it's not the kind of movie you pay top dollar to see in the theater, but I still think it's fun to see kind of what they come up with next and how they're gonna spook out the audience, how they're gonna shock you, how something's gonna happen, and you're just kind of sitting there waiting for it to manifest, I guess. So I've seen plenty worse movies than these, to be perfectly honest. They're inventive little movies and they're just fun to watch. So there's Paranormal Activity 2 and 3. I'll not be watching the fourth one in theaters. I'll wait until that's cheaper and then I will get it or stream it or whatever. A lot of people complain that there's not a lot going on in these movies, that literally nothing happens. But I don't know, I don't think that's true. I think that sometimes the spookiest things are not the literal things. It doesn't have to be a literal killer with an axe or a monster covered with blood. It can be very suggestive, and I think these movies are quite well at doing that. So yeah, that was Paranormal Activity 2 and 3. Another sequel that I picked up, Rec 2. Some call it Record, some call it REC. I call them Rec, that's the way I pronounce it, I don't know. Great Spanish language found footage horror movies. Some of the best found footage movies ever made, Rec 1 and 2, I believe. Definitely the best since Blair Witch Project or such. And particularly the first ones are really good. The first and the second one are really good. I think a lot of people were surprised by how good this one really is. It really ties into the first one, but it's its own movie. And builds upon it very well, and it's got some creepy surprises in there as well. So there's Rec 2. I also checked out Rec 3 Genesis recently, and I quite like that one. Not as much as 1 and 2, but I will say one thing: don't go in, if you're gonna watch Rec 3, just don't go in expecting a sequel to this one. It's almost unrelated, almost completely unrelated to the first and second one. It's almost not even a Rec movie. It's kind of like Halloween 3 to the Halloween movies. I mean, there are similarities, very slight similarities, but it's almost an entirely different movie. If you watch Rec 3 Genesis with an open mind, then I think you may come to like it. It's a decent little movie, but it's not as good as Rec 1 or 2, because these are frantic, frenetic, very violent, tough to watch horror movies with a lot of guts, I guess you might say. If you only watch one movie with people screaming in your ears for 90 minutes and shaking a camera all over the place, let it be this one. Next up, Tobe Hooper's The Funhouse. This one actually just came out on Blu-ray, which is ironic. But being that I have a Region B locked Blu-ray player, and it's not like my favorite movie of all time or anything, I just picked up the DVD, which was quite cheap. I love the tagline there: pay to get in, pray to get out. That's so awesome. Really, this is really a slice of 80s slasher horror movie nostalgia. Really cool stuff. A lot of fun to watch. Just nothing too serious going on here. It's about a bunch of teenagers who go visit the local fair and the local funhouse, and they end up chased by a killer in a Frankenstein mask. And being that it's Tobe Hooper who directed this, you can definitely catch the similarities to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's kind of that same crazy family dynamic, which I think is a lot of fun. So it's not a pure slasher, this one, but I quite like that about this one. They really utilize the funhouse, the environment, and it's nice to see sort of more a throwback sort of monster movie, but it does involve teenagers in peril. Very cool 80s flick. After that, My Name's Bruce, made by, starring, and about the legendary Bruce Campbell. That's right. Look at that freaking face, man. That's an awesome dude. Yeah, I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan, if you haven't been able to tell. I have both his books. I've seen a lot of his movies. I've even seen The Man with the Screaming Brain, which is a truly, truly abysmal movie. But I'll check out anything if Bruce Campbell is involved in it. It's a cool, kind of shiny DVD disc here, by the way. It's a total ego trip for Bruce Campbell. It's all about him, but it's also about the misconceptions about Bruce Campbell. He really makes fun of himself throughout this entire movie. He makes fun of his own B-movie stardom, about living in Hollywood, about making movies. It's just so on the nose. Really a comedy first and foremost. I'm guessing you can't call this a horror movie because it's not really there's nothing horror about it. If you watch the Evil Dead movies, if you're familiar with Bruce Campbell, then check this one out for sure. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I like Darkman, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, of course, Evil Dead 2. He was great, and Bubba Hotep, such an awesome movie. If you've watched Burn Notice, I don't watch the show, but I did watch his spin-off movie, The Fall of Sam Axe, and that was also really awesome. It's almost in the vein of this one. If this is a Bruce Campbell comedy about horror, then The Fall of Sam Axe is definitely a Bruce Campbell movie about action. So they kind of go hand in hand. And there's a sequel coming out to this one called Bruce vs. Frankenstein, I believe, or something like that. Awesome title, should be a lot of fun. And then we've got May, starring Angela Bettis, Jeremy Sisto, and Anna Faris. This is kind of a cult movie. I've heard this sort of associated with Ginger Snaps and such. It's kind of that movie. It's kind of a teenager horror movie. It's got that female perspective, that kind of outsider perspective, sort of a coming of age horror movie, if you can call it that. And I had not seen this one. Actually came out, I believe, about 10 years ago, back in 2002, and I only caught it this year or last year. And yeah, it was really good. Really lived up to the hype. Really, I can see why so many people like it. It's really got that outsider kind of goth culture, Tim Burton-y, strange girl feeling to it. It's got a really adorable quality, but it's really dark and disturbing and very psychological, this movie. So definitely one to watch. And Angela Bettis is really good. She was in Girl Interrupted. She was in the Carrie remake as well, which I think is actually a little underrated. I quite liked her in the Carrie remake. It's not as good as the original Brian De Palma movie, obviously, but I still don't think it's quite as bad as people make it out to be. So yeah, there's May. And this is directed by Lucky McKee, who also went on to make The Woman, which came out recently, and that was also a very, very strong movie. Lucky McKee seems to make only very, very strongly psychological horror movies, so they're definitely tough to watch in some regards, but if you're into that kind of film, films with a strong message or a strong underlying subplot, then they should be something for you to watch. Next up, a Stephen King and John Carpenter classic all at once. It's Christine. I've not read Christine. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I've read a lot of his books. I'm actually currently reading Bag of Bones, which is really good. I need to read this one for certain, but I did check out the movie and I really loved it. Really awesome classic Carpenter stuff. I just really like the vibe of it. Great 80s feeling, great score, very psychological, very dramatic, just very well photographed, well lit. I don't know if you can call it spooky, it's about a living car. Come on. Great combination of John Carpenter and Stephen King. You can't go wrong with those two gentlemen, I think. So if you like Carrie or anything like that, if you like Carrie or Halloween or such, then give Christine a watch for sure. And then we have The Hills Have Eyes 2. It says Help Is Not Coming. This is the newer sequel. Came out in 2007 or 8, I think. Not a great movie. I loved the first Hills Have Eyes remake. I think it's way better than the original Wes Craven movie, to be honest. But this one is okay. Not like greatest movie in the world or anything like that, but it's very bloody, it's very gory. It's about a bunch of soldiers out in the Nevada desert, or some desert anyway. Maybe I'm mistaken here. But yeah, it's about a bunch of soldiers who are attacked by these inbred mutants, of course. And yeah, shit hits the fan and the battle is on, and very few people will survive. Derek Mears, who ended up playing Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th reboot, is actually one of the major cannibals in this as well. The first one was miles and miles better than this, but I can still watch this without cringing, I guess. This is something I've been waiting for a very long time. It's the Psycho collection on DVD. All 4 Psycho movies in one beautiful box. I don't know if you can see it here. I've got quite the strong light here, but the knife kind of catches the light. This red knife silhouette against the black background. Very cool. I really love this. The design of this is just perfect. I've seen this DVD box set for quite a number of years, but I never picked it up until now. And I heard rumors that there was a bootleg circulating, but I do believe that this is indeed a proper release from Universal Studios. I have no reason not to believe. I mean, it looks real enough to me. But yeah, it's very cool to finally have all 4 Psycho movies. I've never had the sequels, but I have seen them all, and I do enjoy them. Not as much as the original, but I do enjoy the sequels for what they are. Psycho 2 is interesting because it picks up where Psycho left off. Not literally where it left off, but we see what's happened to Norman through the years. Is he sane? Is he rehabilitated? What's the deal there? Psycho 3 is interesting just because it's so sort of far out left field, I guess, and Anthony Perkins is back for that one as well. Not quite as good as any of the others, I think, but it does explore some very interesting territory as well, Psycho 3. But Psycho 4, the beginning, is actually, I think, one of the better ones, one of the best ones. I quite like that one. I think it's very underrated. It's actually with Olivia Hussey stars as his mother, Norma Bates, and you actually see he tells the story of how Norman came to be so twisted. And it's very interesting movie, that one. Maybe they're over-explaining some of it, and maybe it's a little odd, I guess you might say. But I quite like that one. I really like the vibe of that movie. Olivia Hussey is really great, and there's something special about just Norman telling us, like over the telephone, the whole sort of story. He actually calls into a radio talk show, I believe, and there's something so kind of cool and cozy about that. I don't know. I always liked the 4th one for some reason, but yeah. So now I've officially gone ahead and bought the first Psycho movie 3 times. Go figure. First I had the Universal DVD, which was really great. Then I recently bought the Blu-ray, which is even better. And I had to have the sequels, so of course I ended up buying it again in this collection. But yeah, it wasn't like the most expensive thing in the world, so I guess I can live with that. So yeah, there's the Psycho collection 1 through 4. Very nice to finally have this one. And then we've got Sorority Row, another horror remake, another pretty crap movie. This one, it's based on the 80s slasher movie The House on Sorority Row. This movie is actually, oh my god, Twilight New Moon. Okay, I'll just close that up again. This movie is actually kind of like, I mean, The House on Sorority Row, not this one. It's actually kind of like the original inspiration for I Know What You Did Last Summer, about a group of teenage girls in a sorority house who are going to play a prank on their house mother, I believe, or someone. Don't quote me on that. but they're gonna play a prank on someone, and they end up, a girl ends up dead by accident, and they take a vow to not disclose what has happened to anyone, to not call the police or do anything like that, keep it to themselves, and of course they are eventually attacked by someone who knows their secret. So yeah, this is just a dumb slasher movie right up my alley. I like seeing newbie teens being hacked to bits, and this delivers on that. So, but it's not as good as the original movie, The House on Sorority Row. I do hope that that one gets a proper DVD or Blu-ray release very soon. On a rainy night, I'll be watching this piece of crap. So, there's Sorority Row for you. And last but not least of the DVDs, we've got Dödens Mannekänger, as it's called in Swedish. The original title may be familiar to you. It's actually called Tourist Trap. This is a very cool movie. It's a lot of fun, cheesy 70s. It's kind of got supernatural meets slasher kind of vibe. It's actually back in the 70s, so it's really before the whole true slasher era kicked in on full gear. So this has got more of a supernatural mystery kind of thing. It's really super cheesy, really super campy, but just a lot of fun to watch. I love these kind of movies. Again, it's teenagers, especially females in peril. I don't know why that's so compelling. Maybe there's something wrong with it. It's all in good fun. Nobody's getting hurt. And this is actually part of a particular DVD collection. That's why it's got all this writing and stuff. It says seized in police raids, 1980, Studio S in television shocks the Swedish people. All films that figured in the program are confiscated in police raids, among them Tourist Trap. Today, the movie is released for the first time in the completely banned original version. Maybe we should take a look at some Blu-rays as well. I'm gonna keep it brief with this one. I'm just gonna give you a quick tour of this. I'm sure you've seen this all hundreds of times already in other videos, but alas, I will still be doing an in-depth video of this beautiful collection a little later. Here's the actual coffin. Looks like this. It's incredibly long, of course, so it can fit the entire Blu-ray box set. But here we have the Universal Monsters Essential Collection with the 9 movies. It's actually 8 movies, but 9 movies if you count Spanish language Dracula hidden inside here. So the lid comes off like that, and then you just slide this box right out. Not too easy. There we have the back of the Blu-ray box. There's the spine. There's the front. 8 original horror classics in high definition. Very cool. I have not watched any of these yet, but it's gonna be a thrill to go back and revisit these. I did have the DVD box set, but man, when I saw the transfers, when I saw the behind the scenes features on restoring Dracula and all that, and when I actually saw the Coffin box set, I just couldn't pass up. Too good to pass up, and I thought it's perfect for Halloween, perfect for October, so I just went ahead and picked it up. There's a lot of cool bonus stuff in here as well. There's some reprint lobby cards and a really, really nice booklet as well. A really in-depth booklet about the entire Universal era. So I will be taking a further look at that in another video. But for now, there's just a brief look at the Monsters Essential Collection from Universal Pictures. But that's far from the only Blu-ray I picked up this time. And among others, I picked up this new fantastic Indiana Jones Complete Adventures Blu-ray box set. This thing is just phenomenal. I can't recommend this enough. I've never had the Indiana Jones movies on DVD, but even if I did, I would not have regretted buying them again on this beautiful, beautiful Blu-ray box set. First up, I'd just like to take a second to mention how incredibly well made this box set is. It's done with a lot of love. It's a solid cardboard box with fantastic artwork throughout. I actually know the guy, or I don't know him, but I'm familiar with the artist who worked on this box set. I'm I'm gonna link you to his blog and his DeviantArt, so you can go check out his artwork. He actually talks about some of the challenges of producing this. I believe his name is Jason Palmer, if I'm not mistaken. So you can go check out his galleries. He's a very talented artist, and I just love how he made the art for this. And then they actually took Indy, embossed all the lettering and made it glossy. Indy and the lettering there is glossy, and I just love this black background, just phenomenal. Couldn't have looked better. When you open this up, you get artwork for all 4 films, custom artwork again by the very talented Jason Palmer. He's gone ahead and done astounding pieces of art for each film, and he's captured the spirit of the movies just incredibly well. Now, however, this set is not only worth picking up for the actual design of the thing, the transfers, the Blu-ray transfers of these movies are astounding. Just amazing. They've actually granted all these movies with brand new 4K transfers, and they look amazing, truly astounding. Raiders of the Lost Ark looks brand new. It just looks incredible. Black levels, grain intact, the colors, all that stuff. I mean, it's really a great transfer. It's probably going to be eligible for one of the best Blu-ray box sets of the year. It's packed with special features for all 4 movies, and I've also watched I watched Temple of Doom, my favorite Indiana Jones movie, just yesterday night, and that also looked really, really astounding. I've never seen them look as good as they do here. So if you like Indiana Jones, this is a no-brainer. Even though Crystal Skull is in here, it's totally worth picking up. I mean, don't even hesitate. Even if you have the old DVDs, even if you don't want to pick up Crystal Skull, do it. I mean, okay, if you don't want to pay full price, you can wait a while, wait a couple of months, but then go pick this one up for certain. Really great box set. I can't wait to watch The Last Crusade as well, but sure, I'm gonna be just as floored by that movie. So yeah, this is probably one of the best Blu-ray box sets of the year, and we've had a lot of great Blu-rays this year. It's actually been a really, really great movie year overall. Really fantastic movie year, and I can't wait to sum it up in December or January of 2013. Picked up another box set collection. This is The Walking Dead season 1 and 2. Fantastic television series, this one, based on the graphic novel, of course. I'm sure you're all familiar with this show already. If you aren't, then you owe it to yourself to watch this. It's not a horror series, actually. It's more of a drama. It's about a group of survivors in Atlanta, Georgia, who are dealing with the zombie apocalypse, and they're led by Sheriff Rick Grimes, who he's just been shot. That's not much of a spoiler because the show actually begins as he's waking up in a hospital and nobody's there. It's all they're all dead, or they're all undead. So that's how the show begins. There's the complete first season. 2 discs, but a lot of special features on there, so I'm totally happy with that one, personally. I know there are quote-unquote better ones, more discs and stuff, more limited, but I don't care. I'm totally fine with this one. Very cool Blu-ray set. And then you got the complete second season, which is 3 discs, and also quite a lot of nice bonus features there. Now, I will say that the first season is very good. It's a very, very good television season overall. Holds a very high standard. But there are some episodes there that I felt were decent, or okay, or pretty good. But it is quite gripping, quite interesting, quite bloody, quite human. They never lose sight of the human characters here. It's not about a big zombie apocalypse, it's really about the people who are trapped in it. And that's why it's so compelling. However, the second season I thought was just amazing. This is the best overall beat for beat season of any television show I've ever seen. I just thought it was astounding. I will say though that due to the fact that you only have so many episodes and you only have so many hours, they do kind of tend to squeeze a lot of stuff into one episode. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. There are huge dramatic beats, there are huge character arcs and stuff going on here, but even though they've kind of squeezed it into this kind of very compact, it's almost like a mini series. It's really, really good. Really great acting, really great writing, top notch, very well photographed, incredibly human as well. That's the great irony of a show called The Walking Dead. They always say that The Walking Dead are actually the survivors, the people who are caught up in this zombie apocalypse, and it's very true. So The Walking Dead, complete second season, I can't recommend it enough. I was floored by this season. Just episode after episode after episode was really, really great. So I'm looking forward greatly to The Walking Dead season 3 that's starting very soon. If you're watching this, then it's probably already started, so be a lot of fun to check that out. Like I said, first season, really good. Some episodes shine in particular. Some of the later episodes in this season I thought were really great. But season 2 overall, fantastic. The best TV show season I've seen since the 3rd season of Supernatural, which I really liked as well. Not as much as this. The Walking Dead, one of the best things to come to television possibly ever. I don't watch television, just to clarify. I stream, or I download, or I rent, or I buy, or I have my other sources, so I'm not one to sit down and watch TV, because I don't like TV. I don't like the format at all. But yeah, if you're gonna watch a TV show that came out recently, let it be The Walking Dead. Game of Thrones is also quite good, but Walking Dead is way up there. And next up we've got Mystic River. Mystic River is a great ensemble thriller. It's a bit of a mystery. I really like the tone of this movie. It's incredibly well acted, very well written, very dramatic, powerful, emotional. It really reminds me kind of a Stephen King story, I guess you might say. Out of all the recent Clint Eastwood movies I've seen, I've not seen Hereafter yet. I need to check that out. But out of all the ones I've seen, he hasn't done a single bad movie yet. He's a really, really talented director. And I finally went ahead and picked up the Universal 100th Anniversary Collector's Series Digibook of Gladiator. I'm sure you're all familiar with this movie, a Ridley Scott film starring Russell Crowe. Came out 12 years ago, and it is an epic action adventure with romance and revenge themes. This film is of course highly critically praised, and it's been considered a true classic ever since it came out. I didn't, however, really fall for it right away. I did see it when it was new, but I suppose I was a little too young to really catch on. So I never really regarded this as a classic or a masterpiece or anything like that. I guess it just wasn't quite up my alley. Maybe it was Russell Crowe or the setting or something. But then again, I never found Braveheart to be. I mean, I respect Gladiator and I respect Braveheart, but I never found them to be. They're just not my kind of films, I suppose. I do think that Ridley Scott is an incredibly talented director, though, and it's got a great cast, so I'm willing to give this one a fair chance and watch it again with new eyes, as it were. I've matured a little bit in the past 12 years, I hope, so maybe I will come to appreciate this movie more. I'm also a bit more interested now in Roman culture and Roman history, which I wasn't even remotely aware of back then. I do hear that this movie has had a previous Blu-ray release, and that Blu-ray release was really terrible. Apparently they did a total botch job and the transfer was really abysmal. But this is the newly remastered Blu-ray edition, so this one should look really good, I believe. Comes with this nice digibook with a lot of information about the film. There are also tons of extra features and documentaries about the making of it as well. So that certainly doesn't hurt. Both Russell Crowe and that's a great image right there. Both Russell Crowe and Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, are very talented actors. But I don't know why this never quite struck my fancy. I guess I just sort of didn't click with me. So I always found this one sort of slightly overrated. But I guess it's time for a second chance. So it should be interesting to watch this one again. Next up, two beautiful miniseries in a collected box set. It's Band of Brothers and the Pacific, from Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. I'm sure you're all familiar with these already. Two really stellar HBO shows. The Band of Brothers came out quite a number of years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I might be wrong on this, and the Pacific is more recent. They're both, of course, about soldiers and battles during the Second World War. Band of Brothers about the European continent, and the Pacific is about the Pacific, the Asian battles. And they're both very powerful, very dramatic, very personal stories. You actually get to see and hear from the real World War II veterans, and it can be a very emotional experience, but it's powerful and well worth watching. Band of Brothers is more of an ensemble piece, and the Pacific is more personal. I prefer the Pacific slightly, but I think they're both, there's sort of yin-yang. You really need to see them both. While we're on the subject of the Second World War, I also picked up The Pianist with Adrian Brody by Roman Polanski. This is a very powerful film. Talks about the Holocaust and the tragedies of the Second World War for the Jews in the Polish ghetto. And a very talented pianist gets caught up in the horrors of that war. If you've seen Schindler's List, then I think you should really watch this one as well. I think Schindler's List tends to take center stage, and this is a little bit more overlooked, I believe. But I do think this is a tremendous movie, and I do believe it to be quite well respected. This is a nice, very special Studio Canal collection version. Comes with a nice little booklet with information about the film as well. Some production notes and some cast notes and such. Very nice. We've got Nowhere Boy, film about John Lennon. Young John Lennon growing up in Liverpool before the Beatles, before Paul McCartney, before Mark David Chapman, before all of that. And it's a really tremendous movie. A great drama. A lot of humor, a lot of warmth, a lot of heart. But what I really love about this film is that it's not a Beatles movie. Aaron Johnson, who you might know from Kick-Ass, I always assumed he was American because he does such a great American accent, plays John Lennon beautifully in this movie. And it's really about John Lennon, the real person, the real boy, the real teenager coming into his own. It's not about the career, it's not about the girls, it's not about the tours, it's not about the Beatles, it's not about the music of the Beatles, it's nothing like that. It's just purely about his growing up in Liverpool, all he experienced, his family life, which was very peculiar and particular. But really a strong, fun, heartfelt movie, worth seeing, I think, even if you're not a Beatles fan at all. And we've got The Mask of Sorrow with Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins. Picked this one up finally. Not much to say about this one. Great action adventure film. Getting on in years, but I think it still holds up quite nicely. I had been looking for this one for quite some time. I had this on VHS back in the day, but I could never find it on DVD. I guess I sort of missed out on the DVD, and it's been long out of print. So it's fun to finally get this one in the collection. I was a big fan of the 90s Sorrow series, which still airs, I believe, on some TV channels. It's a lot of fun to go back and revisit that. But this is a great film. This and the sequel, The Legend of Sorrow, are actually the only Sorrow films I've ever seen. I have not seen any of the classic Sorrow films, so maybe I need to give those a watch. But for now, this is the best Sorrow film I've seen. Skip the sequel entirely, The Legend of Sorrow. Don't even watch it. Check out The Mask of Sorrow instead. I had my birthday recently. I turned 25, and one of my birthday presents was Titanic, the new Blu-ray double play edition. So I'm very grateful for that. This is a phenomenal Blu-ray, I must say. Absolutely astounding. I did watch the film already, and I think this is probably the best Blu-ray transfer I've ever seen. Avatar is fantastic, but this is right up there with Avatar. Even though it's not filmed digitally, and even though it came out like 15 years ago or such, lay all your preconceived notions aside. I would actually love to see this in 3D were it possible, but I just never got the chance. I can say that the 2D version alone on Blu-ray is worth it. I don't even think this is a great film. I think it's a good movie. Very powerful in some places, but it does have its problems for certain. But I think seeing it like this is like seeing it for the very first time. So astounding transfer from start to finish, packed with very interesting special features. There's a new one on the legacy of the film since it came out. A little bit about the 3D and a little bit about how it's impacted people since it premiered. And there's also a documentary from National Geographic Channel with James Cameron exploring the actual sinking of the Titanic in detail. It's well over 90 minutes long, and they talk about using their forensic examinations. They actually land at a very plausible scenario for how it happened, beat for beat exactly. Even though he invites his experts, I still feel like he has the final word. It's actually called The Final Word with James Cameron. Might as well be called James Cameron's Final Word. Picked up some Disney films as well. The Princess and the Frog, quite an astounding film this. I saw this just recently and I was marveled by this film. I believe this is the best Disney film that has been produced in 20 years' time. Since The Little Mermaid in 1989, I don't think there's been a Disney film quite as good as this one. And I honestly mean that. This is a return to the classic Disney format, with princesses, with big song numbers, hand-drawn animation all the way through. Great villain, fantastic artistry, perfect blend of everything new and old, classic and modern. It's just tremendous. And in short, The Princess and the Frog, it's my absolute highest recommendation. It's one of my all-time favorite Disney films. It also comes in a beautiful slipcover, well embossed, and really picks up the light, as you can see, which certainly doesn't hurt either. Worth a shot if you're sort of getting a little sick of all the CGI 3D films of late. But I did pick up another classic, just released a while back, Disney's Cinderella, double play diamond edition. Cinderella is not my all-time favorite. It's actually one of the weaker Disney films in my opinion, but it is a classic. It's one of those films that I would count to the Disney films that I really admire and hold in high regard. Real artistry, real talent, and there was still sort of some magic in the air, I guess you might say, back then. Just not quite up to par with the great ones like Sleeping Beauty and such. This also comes in quite a nice slipcover. However, this is not embossed at all, which I think is a little bit strange because all the classic films so far have been well embossed, but it is nicely done though. And we've got something quite a lot darker. It's Stakeland. So you can see it's a well-reviewed film. This is a vampire film that came out recently, and I was really impressed with this film. I thought it was really good. It's more like a dark thriller, like a dark drama thriller with vampire elements. It's like kind of like The Road with Viggo Mortensen, but you add vampires into the mix. Drop the Twilight DVDs, people, and go out and buy Stakeland instead. Much better, I think. Picked up another classic. It's Stand By Me. I'm sure you're all familiar with this film. Great 80s coming-of-age film. Great young actors in this one. They really pull their weight on screen, I guess you might say. This is based on a Stephen King novella called The Body, which I have not read. I would love to read it someday. And yeah, it's a true coming-of-age film. It has humor, it has drama, it has pathos and sadness and everything you could want. So this is just a film that always holds up. I'm sure a lot of you would agree that when this one comes on TV, no matter when or where, you kind of have to stop and watch it. Kind of owe it to yourself to revisit this one and kind of rekindle your childhood a little bit every once in a while. And a really nice embossed gold collector's edition here. Picked up 2 steelbooks, and I'm gonna start with this one. Prometheus is out on Blu-ray finally. Had this one for quite a while, and I did watch it again. Really tremendous movie this. I loved this movie. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and it still holds up very, very well. I do love that Ridley Scott is able to not just do a direct prequel to Alien, that would have been simple and fun and great, but he actually kind of sidesteps it a little bit, and he also dares to ask bigger questions and leave you without answers, so you can kind of make up your own mind and find your own answers in this movie. That's what I really admire about this one. Beautiful film, very visual, but it's also got teeth, bloody, it's vicious. I just love this movie. It's epic, it's powerful, it's dramatic, it's well acted, it's interesting, it's multi-layered, you know. One of the nicest videos I've seen on this film so far is actually from Chris Stuckman. I'm gonna throw up an annotation on screen right there. So if you go check out his video, he gives a lot of insight and theories to the way he regards this film and the way he watched it. And I think he's really onto something there. That it's there are a lot of things going on in this movie that you just cannot pick up on from 1 or 2 viewings. And yeah, it's all implied, so you kind of have to make up your own mind. But for what it's worth, I think Prometheus is bound to go down in history as a very memorable and incredibly powerful film. This is not the 3D version right here, but it is a nice steelbook. It holds 3 Blu-ray discs, and it only has 2. 1 Blu-ray disc and 1 DVD, I believe. That's a real shame. There is actually a 4-disc collector's edition with a 3D version included, and that has all the special features and stuff. So, if you do pick up the 4-disc version in a Region B format, please let me know. If you're able to send the disc to me, then we will work out a trade or something, because I'd love to see all the bonus features. But I don't think I'm willing to buy this one all over again. But I do love this steelbook, very nice. Yeah, we all know what that is. I'm not gonna tell you, though. Final Blu-ray of this update. I'm sure you've all seen this one before, but alas, here it is again. I ordered this one quite a while ago. I know a lot of people have been waiting for their copies, and yes, I finally got mine a while back. It's the original Terminator on Blu-ray in a beautiful Blu-ray Steelbook edition. Take a look at this one. Just phenomenal. What can you say about Terminator, man? One of the best action films ever made, in my opinion, if not the best. This is probably, I mean, if anybody asks me what's the best action thriller or the best action film in the world, then this is definitely a contender. Beautiful work there on the disc, very cool. You can see old Arnie there buying his weapons. They've done a really great job on this as well. These letters here, the entire logo here is well embossed. Just stands out, and it's just tremendous. The rest is a matte finish, very nice, and it's got this kind of framework around it. I guess that's perhaps to help with the embossing. Just my theory, I don't know. But yeah, I love this artwork. Really, really fantastic. Very evocative and very powerful stuff. I think people kind of tend to almost forget how dark this film is. The first one, really dark, powerful, dramatic thriller, really, with action elements. And this movie does not let up. I think this movie, every single second in this movie is there for a reason. Every single second contributes something. It all matters, it all counts, it all keeps on rolling, it all keeps on going. And the audience just goes along with it. So if you were to ask me, then I would say that the original Terminator will always be the best. Judgment Day is fantastic, don't get me wrong. I respect it tremendously. But for me, it's the first one all the way. Can't wait to watch this one on Blu-ray. So yeah, that about wraps up this Blu-ray DVD update. Thank you for watching. Halloween is just around the corner. I hope you guys will share your Halloween picks. Perhaps I will be watching some of these. Perhaps I'll be watching some of the other ones. I'll try to get some other videos up very soon. And I will take a look at the Universal Monsters collection very soon as well. Stay tuned for that one, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.